Good evening, good morning, wherever in the world you are. It's Monique, and I am here with Leigh Jane Woodgate, and we could not be more excited to have a real and candid conversation about a lot of things. And power is sort of the center because it's such a buzzword, right? You got to go with the sexy word. Leigh, I told you we're going to jump right in at this point, and I love this because this is what makes you different than everybody. So most people spend a lifetime, they're like, I'm going to go on this healing journey. I'm going to figure myself out. I'm going to get to the bottom of all of this. And where they go is they look at who they are, where they were born, where they're from, who their parents were, what their grandparents did, what their where their parents screwed up, what happened to them, who did it, who done it, how they're going to get revenge, as my boys would say, how they're going to right all their wrongs. And it's like quicksand. You stay there for a lifetime staring at your belly button. And you say, no, we're not going to do any of that because it's not about what happened to you. It's not about what your parents did or didn't do. It's about looking at you the way you came here, the way you're built, the way you're designed, the way that you were born to function. And we let all the rest of it go. And some people might hear this and go, no, but that's so important if you don't address it. No, trust me when I say, if you just start where Leigh tells you to start, everything works so much better.
Yep. And let's not discount it. Of course, you've got to go on the healing journey, right? You've got to work on things at a cellular level. You've got to understand how your family influenced you. When you come into the entrepreneurial space, it is the best therapy of anyone's life because if you want to be successful, you are going to have to address everything that gets in your way. So we don't discount the healing. The healing has to occur. The thing is, we need to understand timing, pacing, and sequencing. And we don't start with the healing journey. We don't start with the catharsism. We don't start with lineage restoration. That is not the beginning point, because if that is the beginning point for an entrepreneur, you stay there for years, curled up in a ball on the floor, wondering what the fuck happened to you and why you're on planet Earth. I like to make things simple. This is my life's work in Gene Keys. For anybody who knows Gene Keys, I am the person you come to remove complexity from really big, complex issues. I simplify them so that you can take practical steps and make money doing what you're born to do, being who you're born to be. So, starting point to make it easy is the power protocol. And you've come through this process. Various women have come through this process, and everybody is like, oh my fucking God, Leigh, you just made my life so much easier. The shit that I've been contending with for years has all of a sudden just disappeared, and now I'm taking steps and I'm getting messages from clients going, just signed another client, sign them up for 1,000. They said 4,000. I've just made the move that I've been wanting to make. I'm doing things in a much easier way. Change happens in 24 hours when you do the power protocol, not 3 years later, not after 6 plant medicine journeys that have actually reactivated psychosis instead of getting you grounded. It's practical orientation to how you're built. So, for you, Monique, when you came through the process, was it what you expected?
That's a good question. I'm not sure what I expected. I And that was one reason I wanted to do it because I would read what you were saying, I would listen to what you would leave me in voice notes, and it was like I couldn't quite get my arms around it. And so I had to experience it. I learn by doing. Okay? I don't learn by reading, I don't learn by listening. I learn by going and baking the cake, and then I know how to do it. And so going through the experience, that was the key for me because when I walked through, it was like, oh, I get it. And what I loved about it is you are very deep and you have big perspective. You can hold all these elements. And it was so insanely, like you said, simple, and it was practical. I knew how to apply it immediately. And this is what's often lacking. I see people go through different things and they're like, I have all of this knowledge, but I'm not sure what to do with it in my day-to-day life. I don't know, how does this help me right now? And that is not the case with the Power Protocol.
Mm. Yeah, practical application immediately, not waiting for tomorrow, not waiting for next week, not waiting in the, oh, I'll do this next month. It's real life. And the thing about it is that the moment that you choose to do it, real life is happening and big things are happening. You're going through a transition. Changes are being made. You have decided that you're no longer operating in a certain way, and you have decided 100% that you are choosing the path of less resistance. You've said to yourself, you've woken up one day and you've gone, I'm choosing easy. I, from
Yes.
this moment on, I'm choosing easy. I don't want it to be hard anymore. I don't want to have to put in all of the effort anymore. I'm sick of crying the tears. I don't want to be in pain anymore. I just want it to be easy. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's that woman on the internet that speaks about things being easy. What has she got going on? That chick Leigh Jane Woodgate, she talks about it being more easeful. I'm ready for that.
Yes. Most definitely. And I'm going to tell you something that immediately stood out to me, and I told you this. It was so spot on, scary accurate. So that's why I told Derek, I'm like, I'm pounding away at the computer. He's like, what are you doing? Because when you and I were coordinating it, it was like funky time over here. And I'm like, I'm doing this thing with Leigh. And then he goes, how is it? I go, scary accurate, scary accurate. And he's like, oh. So one of the things that came through is it was talking about how I'm built for these high intensity places and how I can be the calm and the stillness there. And I immediately thought back to when I was, 20, getting ready to turn 21. I moved to Albania when it was it was insane when I moved there, right? The dictator of 50 years had just died. Absolute anarchy, chaos. Any given time they would start burning buildings. They'd start, protesting. The US Embassy contacted me and said, if we contact you and we say we're going to fly people out and you say no, you're on your own. If you die here, no one's coming to get you. I mean, this is how they were talking to me. And I was so calm. And I'm living in an orphanage, which is, for anyone who hasn't lived in an orphanage, it's just like living in a prison, I would imagine, very similar. Um, and there's no water, there's no running water, no electricity. It just half the time there was no food. And I was so calm. I could be with 120 kids, all having all these things come at me. Oh, add to that, I don't know the language. And it was like I was in my zone. I loved it. People would message me or email me, contact my parents and go, why don't you come home? This is madness. Why are you doing this? I loved it. And I made friends with a guy. Actually, we flew in on the same flight, and he worked for the FBI, and he was on a special assignment for, there's a lot of human trafficking across to Italy. And we met. Him and his wife would always have me over, take me to dinner. And after a few months, he said, I want to offer you a job working undercover with the FBI because you can handle stress, you can handle pressure, and I've watched you navigate all of this, and it's like you're just cool under fire. And everything that you sent me and everything that came out in this thing was confirming and affirming that. But the interesting thing is that my family, my friends, anyone who's known me since the womb, they don't see that or believe that about me. They thought she's going to die over there. She's going to freaking get crushed beneath all of this. They see me as a delicate flower, but they never could see that aspect. But because that one man saw it, I knew it was true for me. And then when I read your thing, I was like, oh my gosh, there it is again. Very powerful.
Mm, you as you are. And this is the thing. This is why environment is so important. And we have to be surrounded by the people who see us in our essence. And the only people that can see us in our essence are the ones who are not afraid of themselves,
Mhm.
are the ones who are not living life in fear. The ones who can see us in our essence and our power are the ones who choose to be in their own power. They
Mhm.
choose to go and get it and to live a really big life and to play a big game and to be on the path of no matter what, we're getting this done. And let me find the others, because the only way to be successful is to collaborate. But you cannot collaborate with powerful people if you're not in your power, because powerful people cannot be bothered with people who are in a shitstorm constantly and everything is drama and chaos and they don't know how to run their own lives and everything is a challenge and everything is a drama. This is not the bold and the beautiful. This is not the days of our lives. This is not the young and restless. This is entrepreneurship at the level of systemic change leadership. And so a lot of people, they want to be playing with people that are in their power. They want to run that game, but they just don't get to be at that level because they're still living in fear. And
Mhm.
so how can people see you in your power if they're still living in fear? Whereas the FBI dude, he was like, well, this is what we do on a daily basis. This is how we run. This is standard practice. So he's easy to spot it in other people. Now, you know that with the power protocol, there are 7 different levers, precision levers that get
Mhm.
activated in order for you to be in stable power. And before we get to the power work, there are another 2 practices, 28-day practices that we go through. But as I've shared with you, I don't normally get people entering in at that place because most people are operating from a lineage restoration perspective. They're operating from a healing perspective. And so when they've got to be moved into the place of this is how I operate, which is what the power protocol is about, they keep on wanting to go back to story. Oh, but my
Mhm.
grandmother, oh, but my mother, oh, but my father. And I've got to constantly redirect them and go, we're not doing that now. You are seeing yourself for how you operate. Are you a Ferrari? Are you a Toyota? Are you a Ford? Are you a bicycle? Are you a canoe? You cannot try to run a Ferrari the way that a canoe moves. A
Yeah.
canoe needs water. A Ferrari needs a very open road with nobody in the way so that you could hit gas and go fast. Are you a Ferrari or are you a canoe or are you a Ford? And that's got nothing to do. That's got nothing to do with patterns and programs that were passed on, the baggage that was passed on. It's just literally this is how you're built. So when you
Mhm.
saw how you're built and when you got all of these levers of that's where my money stability comes from. That's where my relational stability comes from. Oh, that's where the friction is in me. Oh, this is the one lever that I need to pull, and everything will be okay. And if I don't activate that lever, I will destabilize myself, and there will be a domino effect, which is called the shit show of your life that could easily continue for 3 years.
Mm. Yes. Okay. So the one that stood out to me, and I found it so fascinating because as soon as I read it, my brain went to this situation, this situation, this situation. Okay. So because I move very quickly in business in particular, and I make money fast, I'll get an idea, I'll execute it. Somebody or 100 and somebodies will buy it just that fast. People perceive me to do everything quickly. Okay. Because the sliver of me that I present online and that runs this show is quick, fast. move. I don't get an idea and in 14 months bring it to market. Yeah. So there is this pattern of when somebody asks me to do something or to participate or to buy something or to go somewhere, and when I say, let me consider it, they get insanely, like, I mean, light their skin on fire, irritated, mad, frustrated with me. Because it's like, you make fast decisions, you move quickly in business. Why are you putting me on the slow road? So it feels personal, it feels like an insult. Okay. And I was just starting to get on the edge of why do people respond to this way? And when you sent the thing over, it was like, oh, there it is. And ironically, that is where and when I will get in trouble. If I just say yes in the moment, that is the best recipe for disaster. The sleep on it, give it some time, let it marinate, talk it over with Derek. Are we on the same page? I'm going to bounce this off of you. This is what I'm seeing. What are you seeing? And we literally had just put this specific thing in place about a year ago. I said, whenever I get an invitation or an opportunity or a whatever, even an idea, I'm going to run it by you and I'm going to say, this is what I see. And this is why I would or wouldn't want to do it. What do you see? So getting that other perspective. So yes, I can tell you for sure 100% of the time that something went sideways, I said yes in the moment. There was no space to let it sit.
Mm, mm. And this is the thing, yes, we talk about human design. Yes, we talk about gene keys. Yes, I talk about wealth dynamics. We talk about numerology. We talk about astrology. The way that I map things is very different.
Mhm.
And I don't need to explain my process to you because that is my zone of genius. This is what I'm born to do. I'm born to take complexity and bring it into simplicity, as I've shared before. The human being is complex. But when we get the timing of our human nature, when we get the sequencing of how we process data, and when we pace ourselves based on who we are, then everything works. It's like when we're going through, some people choose a moment in their lives where they're like, I am just focusing on my beauty. That's it. It's just going to be a time. Life has got so good. Money is in order. You've got a beautiful partner. Your job is in order. The kids are older. Everyone's grown up. Everything's in order. And you're like, oh, well, I now have the luxury of just focusing on my beauty. And so you completely up level everything about you. There's a process that you go through, and it starts externally and then it moves internally. You don't start with, oh my God, I'm going to get my liver so optimal right now because that's going to be the thing that is going to make my beauty be visible to everyone around me. You're like, okay, cool. Well, I'm just going to work on my skin and then I'm going to get my hair done. Let's get these eyebrows in order. Okay, we might just tighten up the lips a little bit. Like, how's the neck doing? Okay, we're going to move on to the skin. Right, maybe tighten those abs a little bit. And then we move on into, like, let's work on the blood, let's work on oxygenation, let's work on our bone density, let's check out the organs. So in life, with anything that we do, and specifically with power, you've got to focus on timing, pacing, and sequencing. It all needs to happen at the same time. This is not a beauty regime. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm going to do the hair and then the eyebrows. No. When you want to be stable in your power, you've got to master those three things. So what has changed for you other than this specific point of do not make a decision in the moment? What has changed for you in other areas in relation to timing, pacing, and sequencing?
So another aspect talked about how I'll take on too much, and the problem is that I can. It doesn't mean I should. And I won't let anyone know that this is too much. I'll just keep taking it on. I can make it look easy. I can be easy breezy while I bench press 350 pounds. And what ends up happening is it's this brute strength type of thing, right? Instead of, no, I don't need to take that on. There's a different way to navigate it. And being able to just make my decisions differently and to notice when this is too much. Another one, I don't know, the way that I remember it being phrased is this is when I feel like too many people need too many things from me and they have too much access to me, I'm fine, and then I'm not fine just like that. It's like just fall off a sheer cliff. And then I'm mad, I'm frustrated, or withdraw, I'll pull out of everything. I'll go take care of myself. But this knowing that I don't have to get to that point, and I can notice, and it's been very interesting because this has been the perfect month to practice this. So if we go through all of these things, somebody specifically gave me an invitation, actually two invitations came through, and I said, let me think about it to both of them. Derek was not on board with either one of them. And just letting that be, whatever amount of friction or irritation it created for the other person, I let it be. I did not participate in it. I didn't address it. I just let it be. The other thing is because this month has been business and packing and preparation for moving, I knew at the beginning of the month, do not focus on the business. Do not do launches, do not go after big things. You just there's subscriptions, there's payment plans, there's memberships, it's all there. Just let that be, take care of that. Don't go into big build mode, and take care of the family, take care of the home, and make the move. And in the past, I would have said, I can do both. And this time I didn't. I was like, I can do both, and I'm not going to do both because I won't feel good doing both. And both will actually end up suffering because I'm not going to be at my best. So I followed that. I let the business take care of itself. Everything that we had built, I was like, business, you're good. You're a big girl. You go do your thing. And I took care of family and home, and we are 100% ready to go. Everybody is calm and centered, and at any time when the emotions came up, I could be there and I could listen and I could be calm and I could just let them process it. And I didn't feel like I don't have time for this shit. I also have offers to sell and da da da. You know what I mean? I could just be. The other thing with this is, honestly, I've lost count at this time, but in March, a dozen people have asked me for favors that I wasn't required or obligated to do. So in other words, it wasn't part of a package or an agreement that we had professionally. And under different circumstances and different timing, I could have chose to do or not do them, depending on the relationship. But I gave a no to every single person this month who asked me for a favor. And the motto I created for myself when we did this power protocol is, this is not the time for me to be taking care of you or going above and beyond for all of you out there. This is the time for me to be taking care of me and my family. So there will be zero favors, zero extra credit for the straight A student. It's a no on every single one. And that felt so good.
In the past, how has it felt giving no's to people?
Well, here's the problem. It hasn't felt good because in my mind, I would say it's in my power to do this. I'm capable of doing it. Truth of the matter is at least 50% of those asks were not at all hard for me, and I could have got them done like on the spot in a few minutes or less. But that wasn't the point. Okay. So that good girl, the Christian girl, the volunteer in orphanages, all of that part of me has always went through life saying, if it's in my power to help someone, I will. It sounds good. Give me a
Until,
little, give me a little ribbon and a trophy, right? I'm going to win Citizen of the Year. Um, but it actually doesn't feel good because what I'm learning is that like you said, it wasn't appropriate for the time and season. And in the past, saying no, I would have felt bad. I probably would have thought about it and ruminated on it. And then a week later went back and been like, I'm just going to do it. Right. And I felt it. I thought about it for a lot less time than usual. And then I just came back and went, no. There's times when you pool your resources for yourself. There's times when there's output and there's times when it's coming back in and there's times when you really pool your resources. And I allowed myself, I mean, Leigh, I didn't even do this when I lost my daughter. You know, there's been so few times in my life when I've done what I've done this month, and it just feels like a massive victory.
yeah, and it is because for the first time in your life, you 100% honored how you were built to be. 100% based on your structure, based on your operating system, not based on expectations, not based on what your family expects of you, what your clients expect of you, all of the projections and the perceptions. And it's ironic, right? Because in your work, and particularly around, power moves that you're coming into, part of the work is how are you perceived? So when you're coming into PR land, and that's what all of this work is, it prepares you to come into PR land and to be visible on a high level. Now, how you're perceived and how you are two very, very different things. And if you don't know how you operate, then you can't line up with the perception that needs to be created in alignment with your brand essence and who you're choosing to be. And so most people get it wrong. They're like, okay, cool. I'm just going to be out there. I'm going to be in communication. I'm going to be in the magazines. I'm going to contribute to the books. I'm going to write my solo book. I'm going to be on the billboard. And through all of that, people are going against how they are built. And so they burn themselves out, or they rise to the top and they fall very quickly because they can't handle all of the energy that is coming towards them. When you do get more visible, and when you do get more visible, you need to be able to deal with the fame and also with the haters that are going to try and tear you down. And so now that you have this clarity on how you operate from a power moves perspective, what shifted for you?
Mhm. So I know for a fact, because it's been reflected back to me, the way people perceive me is not human. It's superhuman, right? So I don't ever get tired. I don't ever get to a place where I'm done. I'm maxed out. No more for any of you. This is the perception. Well, you make it look easy. It feels like you have more to give. You have it in your capacity. So knowing that people don't see me as human, they don't see that there's any limit to anything, they will, based on that perception, keep asking for more and keep expecting it to be handed out, whatever that looks like. So now, based on knowing all of this, I can know that's their truth, but I don't have to play into it. I don't have to somehow um, play that role in their own Netflix series. I also don't have to manage their expectations because their expectations are their expectations. What I do is, like you said, I honor who I am, what works for me, and wherever there's a gap in their perception and their expectations and how I actually am meant to be, I have to let that be. The gap is what was always looming for me because that gap created Facebook hate groups. The gap created the smear campaigns. The gap created the family turning against me because it's like, you are this way. In my world, you're this, and you are not this. And so now we will make you wrong. So as soon as I recognized that would happen, I was like, oh my gosh, you know what I've done wrong is I've got to close this gap. I need to move closer to their perception, to their reality. This is my fault. Oh my gosh, why did I do this? I got a Facebook hate group and it's my fault. I need to close the gap for these people. And then guess what happened when I closed the gap? The worst of the worst hate, rallying the angry mob, lawsuits. I mean, I thought it was bad when there was a gap. You close the gap, and it is like, oh shit, we're in the deep end now. All that rest of that was all fun and games. So, having walked through it, now what I realize is I don't close the gap. In fact, I operate in a way that will actually make the gap grow.
Bigger. Yeah.
It's gonna get bigger because I will
Yeah.
not accommodate at all. And with this giant gap, biggest one of all time, let me tell you what happened, Leigh. It's fascinating because once you know and once it clicks for you, it's not only is it you can't unsee it, right? The lens is different, but everybody else gets the message as well. For the first time in all of these years in business, going to be 16 or 17 years in April, I think 16. I know how to deal with the projections. And instead of trying to dodge it, I literally let it come right at me and I dance with it. And then all of a sudden, it's my game on my terms. And they don't know what to do with that because it's like, wait, I thought this was going to impact her in that way. I thought I was going to punish her enough to get her to adjust and to accommodate. And it came at me and I didn't adjust and I didn't accommodate. And actually, I made a point to be a bigger business and be like, oh, yeah, that's not going to work on me. You can't punish me. And then they didn't know what to do with that.
And that's you fully in your power, just operating. This is not playing a game. This is not trying to see who's bigger than who. It's just literally, this is my interface. This is your interface. And our interfaces are not interfacing with one another. And
No.
so we're not going to get into a conversation about feelings and emotions. It's not about that. This is my operating system. It's like a very, very overweight person wanting to get onto a domestic flight with the smallest seat that exists. That very overweight person is not going to fit on that seat. You're going to have to lift up the lever, and that person is going to have to maybe take 3 seats. And so it's just literally your interfacing doesn't operate with the interfacing over here. We don't have to have an emotional discussion about it. We don't need to talk to your feelings around it. We're just not interfacing. And so that's cool. We're just not interfacing, full stop. So we've got these people all over the world that are so fucking emotional about things. And no, we just don't jam. Like it just doesn't work. Your timing, your pacing, and your sequencing doesn't line up with my timing, my pacing, and my sequencing. That's it. Full stop. Your projections and the hellhole that you want to be in because you create a whole bunch of stories because you're still pretty fucked up in your life and you haven't gone through understanding who you are as an individual. You don't understand your own operating system. And now you're making that my problem? No, that's not how it works here. That's just not how it works here. And I mean, a lot of relationships will end with simple things because he likes to stay up past midnight and he's really into intensity, and she likes to go to bed at 7 p.m. and she likes chill. They're two interfaces that are not going to work over time because they're different rhythms and flows. So I love this for you. I love that you're finding it so much easier just to say yes and say no. And there is an emotion and there isn't a whole bunch of story, and you're not running loops around yourself and losing any more sleep at night. You're just like, yeah, this is me. This is how I roll. And you don't roll like that. And so we're just not going to roll together. Enjoy the rest of your life. And we're never going to roll together because your interface is like that and mine is like this. It's just never, ever going to work.
Exactly. And when I was going through everything and I was trying to accommodate and close the gap, everything about how I'm operating now was sort of my worst nightmare. Like that is, I thought that this is the place where the most emotion and the most stories would live and the most complexity and drama. And what's been fascinating is it's devoid of it. It doesn't even exist. Like a situation happened, and like Derek and I, we was like, I told him about it. He said one thing. I said, I'm fine. I had nothing going on. Like, heart's not racing. My mind's not racing. I'm not panicking. I'm not trying to go for plan A, plan B, plan C. We had a laugh and we moved on. And smaller things in the past, I would have like canceled calls in my day. I would have been like, what are we going to do? How do I respond? Which is, we might have hashed it out for 2 weeks. And it's just like, it's a completely different thing, right? There's no emotion, there's no conversation. And that's the thing I love, because why did I ever think, oh my gosh, if we just had a conversation, if these people just knew me and where I was coming from, they wouldn't do this. Oh, no. Trying to do all that, it made it worse. Like then they went on like a world tour to talk about how horrible I was, right? So you're so right. It's just like, hey, we're not jiving. Nothing more to say or do. Like you do your thing, I do mine, and I am not impacted by your choices. You do your thing. I'm good. Oh, Leigh, for a 5-1 in human design, like to get to that place, it's like, oh my God, I just graduated with my PhD in, how to deal with projections and haters and all the things. And oh my gosh, I'm just fine. I'm good. The sun still is gonna rise tomorrow.
How great. And this is the thing, people go, oh, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough energy. I don't have enough money. Oh, you're just not allowing yourself to be as you're built. And so you're investing in your case, trying to close the gap. There's a whole bunch of time, energy, and money that you will never get back. You're spending a whole bunch of time trying to come up with a resolution for a problem that was never yours to solve in the first place. Why the fuck are you trying to solve a problem that was never ever yours to solve in the first place?
Exactly. Oh my gosh, it's like, oh no, 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 that's the wrong project. Don't go into that sinkhole. Yeah, it's true, and one of the things that I find so fascinating about human beings is it's like we'll resist who we actually are. We've talked about this before. The girl's born with this beautiful, curly, wavy, wild hair. They'll straighten it every morning. And then the girls who have straight hair, they're like, I just wish I had more volume, you know? And the projectors, they act like manifesting generators all freaking day. They're like chasing their tail, like dreaming about being the psychopath who's spinning all the plates. And then the manifesting generator is like, oh my gosh, the projectors are so focused and they're just resting and they're like doing something for 20 minutes and moving mountains. Wow, everyone like idolizes whoever they're not. And when we finally just go, oh my gosh, this is who I am, and I fully embrace it and I honor it, and I'm not trying, like you said, to be the kayak when I'm actually a bicycle, two totally different things. That level of peace and being on the same page with ourselves. Like you gave me a list. You literally gave me a checklist. And it's like, oh, this is so simple. I can do this. I can keep these things in mind. I can have this in front of me as I'm going through my day and my conversations in my life. Oh, by the way, um, this was an important one. So on my paper, it said like when I'm, have emotions or that internal pond is not still, like don't talk to people. Don't don't pick up the phone type like, don't drink and text. Like me, I can't be unsettled internally and then go have a conversation. And so this was about, I don't know, ten days ago. Something happened and right. I was like, nope, I'm not responding. Not responding. I'm going to go do my yoga nidra. I'm going to go take my CBD. I'm going to go look at the flowers. And I let it sit so long. I'll let messages now sit and emails sit until I'm back. And then I responded when I was back. And this thing swung such a 180, Leigh. It was insane. Like this was for sure like a crash and burn type of scenario. You know what I mean? Like meet me on the corner of First and what Ash and we're gonna punch it out. And it ended up being such a peaceful conversation and a resolution and a big payment notification. So when I'm all kinds of turbulent, I just zip it up and throw away the key. And I only operate when I'm back into that calm, still place.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's okay, it's my own work, but I love to blow my own mind with my own work because
Yes.
my whole thing is like human beings, honestly, like y'all are making it really hardcore complicated when actually it's not. Like it really is not as complicated as everybody wants to make being human out to be. Like it's actually so much more simple. And so I'm really loving at the moment, there's a group of people that I'm taking through live power protocol integration, the 28-day practice. And in the third week that we come into, we come into checklist phase. And so you're looking at your 7 stable power precision levers and you're looking at exactly what they are. And I go, okay, cool. Let's look at your real life scenarios that are happening right now. Okay, stuff going on with my husband right now, stuff going on with my kids right now, stuff going on with business right now. I'm like, okay, cool. You've got a decision to make. Run it through the checklist. Let's have a look. And people are going, we're putting a tick. We're like, no, that's a cross. That's a tick. Okay. That's partial. That's okay. There's an opportunity to turn that one around. Okay. Now, where do we land? And everybody looks at it and they're like, Okay, well, that's just made that clear. I'm out or I'm in. And you
Yes.
don't need to mull over it because you know if I go against my mechanics, there's going to be a shit show. And I've made the commitment to easeful. I've made the commitment to peace. I've made the commitment to non turbulence. Like I'm choosing, I've got no chill. I'm choosing chill. In my no chill of like getting it all done and moving fast as you do, I'm choosing peace and easefulness. So, me, I love a checklist when it comes to is this going to fuck my life
Yeah.
or is it not? Is this going to support the mission that I'm on to be free and prosperous and at peace or is it not?
Yes. And you know, in this thing that you were saying, it's fascinating how many times we have been willing to make it harder and add work to what doesn't need to be made harder or more. We love to create work for ourselves as human beings. It's a fascinating thing. Like I will see it in my clients, like, hey, why are you doing that? Well, I don't know. I just thought I'd rework it. And why are you creating work for yourself? It's not broke, right? And the thing that I find very interesting is this, is that when I look back at certain phases of my life, I will have created work for myself, or I will have tried really hard to not have conflict. And it always leads back to because that was a phase in my life where so many things were going right that I felt guilty that my life was so good. So I felt like there needs to be some sort of trade-off. I will pay a tax. I will slap myself, beat myself on the back because when I would look around the world, I'd see most of the world not figuring out how Earth works, not remembering for a second, not even a slight bit, who they are and what they came here to do. I see that every single thing in their life is hard. They haven't figured out money. They have not figured out vocation. They can't figure out people and relationships and love to save their soul. They're absolutely sideways with everything. Their health is a disaster. And inside, I would think, I don't deserve to have it this good and this easy when most of the world hasn't figured out step one. And I will no longer do that. I don't know why their path is their path. I don't know why this is mine in this lifetime, but I will not do that again. I will not punish myself for figuring certain things out and for having the life that I have.
Well, I'll tell you why this is your path. Because this is your path. Because this is the vocation that you're here for and not vocation as people understand it. People are like, oh, yeah, my vocation is a doctor or a teacher or a lawyer. No, when you're in the space of systemic change leadership, when you know you came to Earth for a really big reason, and you've known that since you were little, it's not like you wake up one day as an older woman at 35 years old and you're like, oh, I know, I came to Earth for some really big things. I've decided that I'm going to find out what my purpose on this planet is. No, you're not my people. My people are the ones who know that they landed on Earth and they were like, yo, this place is fucked. These people out there. Can you see what I see? Can you hear what I hear? Like, are you hearing those voices? Are you getting those signals? Can you hear those whispers? Did you just see all of the magic that occurred? People think that we're on drugs. People think that we're taking LSD on a daily basis. No, we're just the awake ones that have got that we're here for a really important mission. And your vocation, your systemic vocation, which is work that we do in the first body of this 565-day process, yours sits right at the top, and it's experienced as separation. So most of your life, you will have felt separate from the others because your job on this planet, your systemic vocation on this planet is to end indifference. And so, of course, you're ruffling feathers left, right, and center. You're like, chop, chop, people, wake up. How about you stop doing things sideways? How about you get your relationships in order? You learn how to run money. You learn how to be yourself. And the thing is, by the time women like you step into their work, they start to understand, the impact of other people not doing their jobs, which is the other 5 jobs that exist, is you experience the projections that come when people are oppressed, when people are in denial, when people are in shame, when people are feeling rejected, when people are living with guilt. And then they get to you and the separateness occurs. Because those people are not doing their jobs. People who experience repression and denial and shame and rejection and guilt, they have a job to do. And if they're experiencing that stuff daily in a big way, they know that they've got a bigger job on planet Earth. And the moment that they get that, that's when the wheels really start to come off, because they're like, shit, I've got a bigger job to do. And I'm going to have to rearrange my life. And I'm going to have to let go of a whole bunch of stuff that is not mine. And I'm going to have to end disease. And I'm going to have to end violence. And I'm going to have to end greed. And I'm going to have to end poverty. And I'm going to have to end war. And it's bigger than me. There's nothing that I can do about it. So this is your path, and these are your experiences, because this is your job. You don't get to be indifferent, not in your space, because that's what you're here for. And if everybody was doing their job on planet Earth that is here for systemic change, they wouldn't have to be trying to restore their power. They wouldn't have to be pulling their precision levers to stabilize themselves, because they know what their job is. They lower the boom right at the beginning of time of, this is not for me. I'm exiting now. Like, no access. Then there's no tidying up to do. There's no cleaning up to do, because you're like, no, I'm busy doing my job. You don't get to enter here. Life would get so much easier. So I've got nothing better. I've got nothing else better to do on planet Earth. People are like, why the fuck do you do this? You're insanely, like, really, you think that you can bring humanity into harmony? I'm like, whether I can or whether I can't, I actually don't care. I've got nothing else better to do on this planet other than just do my job of what I've come here for. And if anybody else wants to do their job as well, I'll help them do their jobs. And if you want to have a great time, well, we can do that together as well. Like, what else am I going to be doing on planet Earth on a daily basis? Woe is me, thinking about how fucked my life is, and my mother left when I was 2 years old, and my father brought me up alone, and then I lost him to his wife when I was 10 years old. No, that all happened, and also I've got a job to do. So here we are, just doing our jobs, Monique.
Doing our jobs. What else are we gonna do? We gonna watch the news and go, oh my gosh, the world is going to hell in a handbasket. No, we have work to do. And I like how you said this. You sent me a message and you gave me the list, and you're like, it's your job to rock the boat and to ruffle feathers. It's your job to offend people. It's your job to polarize. It's your job to have the projections flying. It's just your job to lead the way and to have everything, the whole shit show going on, and you look around and you're just, you don't get sucked in by it. It's just your job to stand in the middle of it, and the flames don't touch you, and you remain calm. and you keep leading. And so my wish is that everybody remember and fully become aware of what their job is, because their job is not what their job is. Yeah, that 9 to 5, or even that business and that venture. So contact Leigh, send Leigh a message and say, I want to remember what my job is. Because if you're lucky, you're gonna live to be 88 years old. It's a long time when you don't know why you're here. Yeah, really long time. Most people are like, life is so short. And I'm like, no, life is really long when you don't know what the frickin' frack you're doing. Okay. It's long. So, right? It's the only way to be able to have a sense of joy and purpose and peace and fulfillment. It's the only chance we've got, because no one's going to find it in a bottle of pills or in a bottle, their next cocktail, their next adrenaline rush, their next shopping spree. We all know that is so insanely temporary. You
Yeah.
probably won't have enough dopamine and serotonin and all of that to last through the hour if that's all you're going, if that's all you're getting it from. It has to
Yeah.
be, your job. So
Yeah.
get with Leigh. Remember what your job is. Honor who you are, the way you're built, regardless if you think that's how you should be built or not.
Mm. And I'll
And
share just one thing with
yes,
you of one of our favorite clients that we're both working with, who, it's bringing into the slow down to speed up, which is most high achievers' problem. I got a message last night saying, I slept until 8 a.m. I'm normally up at 4. And I said, well done for doing your job. You're getting it. And so she's just completed the power protocol and she's come through a one-to-one with me. And you had already given her the guidance to say, this is what needs to occur, because if it doesn't occur, you are going to blow yourself up. And so she ran with it and ran with it and ran with it and just couldn't stop, received her power protocol. And she's like, oh, okay, so I can just sleep for an extra 4 hours and we chill. And you as well, for some people you disappeared for a week. I was like, no, she's just doing her job, and right now she's just sleeping for 13 hours a day, because that's what needs to occur, because that's how she does her job well, because this is her operating system. So it's just really exciting to see a whole bunch of women just being good with being themselves. Like, this is just
yes.
how I operate.
Being good with being yourself and let the chips fall where they may. Because there's
Yeah.
actually far less drama when you are good being yourself than when you try not to be yourself and try to accommodate and
Mm,
bend.
mm.
That does not work. So, Leigh, what's the next step that people should take?
DM me on Facebook. Go onto my profile if you want to stalk me. There's a link for the Power Protocol everywhere. This is your last week for it, and then I'm really turning up the volume, and then people who are not ready will feel like they're on fire. So rather not get to that place, just hop into Power Protocol. Find the link either on Instagram or on Facebook. I'm more on Facebook these days. So Leigh Jane Woodgate. Um, and I'll see you on the other side, in your power, restored, not wasting any more time, and getting how to pace yourselves and getting how to sequence things, and enjoy the rest of your life with it being easy and peaceful and smooth and flowing.
I love it. Thank you, Leigh, for walking me through this process. I know that we're not finished, but I really appreciate, first of all, the work that you did to set all of this up, and then walking me through it and us watching how it has unfolded. And I know this is happening for a lot of other people as well. If you're in power moves, I highly recommend you go through this. It's going to be very supportive as you go through that program. Until next time, get to doing your
Until
job.
next time.
Bye.
Yes, doing it. See you in the next zone.